Hi, everyone, and welcome to Matt Ridge's Davidson-Davie Community College Coaches Show. I'm Miles Poole. We're here live tonight at Brinkley Gymnasium with Coach and the athletics director here at the school. We got a really good show for you tonight. We'll walk through some of the games since our last Coaches Show, including yesterday's big game against the UNC JV team in the Dean Dome down at Chapel Hill. We'll also have former Storm two-time first-team All-American and current Catawba College standout Javion Jones with us as one of tonight's special guests. We've got a few surprises that we won't give you guys yet. We'll kind of keep you on edge for that. But we got a couple of other guests, player interview and another special guest that we'll have for you a little later on. Reminder, you can ask Coach Ridge or Javion or anyone a question via the Facebook link, and we'll be following that on the phone here if Jared could help me out with that. And welcome, Coach.
Miles, it's great to be back. We've had 4 games since our last show, and we've been blessed to find a way to win all 4 of them. So we're excited about the upcoming games, and we want to base our, pride on the future, but we're proud of where we're at.
Well, let's talk about where you're at. We'll set the stage for everyone. You guys sit with a 20-0 record. You're ranked number 1 in the latest NJCAA Division II men's basketball poll. I think the only other defeated D2 team in that poll is Orange County Community College out in New York. You've held that ranking since mid-December. Now the record, the rankings, all the accolades, they're a tribute to the hard work, the dedication and talent that make up this team. But as a coach, I'm sure you want to stay focused on the next game. How do you as a coach and this team as players continue to enjoy the accolades, continue to enjoy the attention, but still keep that focus on the next opponent?
My wife will tell you that I'm really guilty of not enjoying every win, so I'm trying to do a better job of that. But at the end of the day, the accolades, the rankings and all that, it's nice, but we really focus on what's real, and what's real is our preparation for the next game and trying to get better every day. And at the end of the day, if we get better every day and focus on the process and, keep watering the roots, the fruits will come to, fruition. And our guys have done a good job of that so far, staying humble, even though people, I'm sure, are telling them how great they are, and staying humble and making sure they know every day is important in the process, because if you're not working to get better somewhere, somebody is, and when you meet them, they'll beat you. And we've got a lot of people inside our inner circle that make us who we are, yourself. We got a special guest here tonight that does so much behind the scenes for us with stats. And, of course, our own statistician who just walked in the door with his wife. I mean, just so many people that help me and us make us who we are and what we do on game night. I think a lot of times people that just come to the games, they see 25 to 30, 35 games a year, but they don't realize all the things that these young men are doing every day. Today we had an 45-minute hour-long film session / meeting, then a 2-hour practice. They've been getting up shots, and now they're here for the coaches' show.
Well, we'll get right into those games since the last show. The first one was here, January 19th against GTCC, and you guys came away with a 177-point win. 2 big performances. Both Chase Mebane and Jaheim Taylor had 19 points apiece in that game. If you would, tell us a little bit about the play of these 2 sophomores and really the individual talents that they bring, not only in that game, but bring to this team.
Well, last year, both of them came off the bench for us. And, some games Jaheim played 3 to 5 minutes. Some games he played 15 to 20. And then Chase, same kind of scenario last year. They were playing behind some big-time players that are now playing at 4-year schools, and one of which is Javion, who's here tonight. But, they both, from the very beginning of the season, stepped into a leadership role in terms of what they're doing on a consistent day in and day out process in terms of being aggressive, wanting the ball, and making plays. Now, Chase has had some big-time games, but he's also had a few games where he wasn't quite as aggressive as I want him and his teammates want him to be, and we're hoping down the stretch he can do that because we need him to be that presence for us every game, every possession, because when he is aggressive, he's hard to guard. And then, of course, Jaheim started at point. He's a combo. He can score it. He's had some games where he's really made his teammates better, making the right play. I mean, I think it was 2 or 3 games ago he had like 25 points and won his turnover. I think it was against Fayetteville Tech. So he's understanding that he's got to take care of the ball and play great D and, of course, continue to get better defensively while he's making his teammates better. So it's good to see him have a game or two where he's only got 1 or 2 turnovers. He's scoring it and leading us.
Well, in that game, the Titans dressed only 8 players, and you guys are well conditioned, big rotation. Do you feel like in that game you were able to wear this team down?
There's no question that was a part of it. I think we played 12 out of our 13 players a lot of minutes. So throughout that game, I kept telling my staff, some of these jumpers they're hitting, eventually they're going to stop hitting and we're going to get some runouts, which is exactly what happened. But Guilford Tech's a dangerous team. I mean, they've played a lot of teams close. They've lost a lot of close games. They are incredibly talented offensively. As Kevin Eagle will tell you in a little bit, statistically, they are very efficient, and that's a key word in terms of understanding teams' efficiency offensively, and he'll explain that a little bit more detail later on tonight in the show. But Guilford Tech can score it, and throughout the first 25 minutes or so, they hung with us. But eventually, I do think their legs got a little tired, and we got some runouts.
Well, in the game, your defense forced 30 turnovers, but GTCC still managed to get 77 points on you guys, and they went to the free throw line, I think, about 33 times in that contest. Were there particular aspects of the Storm's defense, maybe the play in that game that you weren't happy with as a coach?
Well, we're certainly aggressive on both sides of the ball. But defensively, we really want to put pressure on you, deny passes, contest every shot, and keep it out of the paint. And, we did force 30 turnovers, which is a big reason why we won the game. But at the same time, we got to be able to play that style without putting people on the line. And unfortunately, our guys, the second half, even though we did get some runouts, we continue to foul them. So you got to play hard and smart and, stop putting people on the free throw line by fouling them.
Well, moving on to Game 2, Catawba Valley. But that was at Catawba Valley on the 23rd. Now, this was a rematch from the November 30th game that we had here at Brinkley. You beat the Red Hawks 107-85 in that contest. This game was a little bit closer. You came away with a really hard-fought 88-75 road win. Now that you're seeing conference opponents for the second time, how did this game and your teams play different from maybe that earlier contest in November?
Well, other than Catawba Valley having a new, head coach, it wasn't much different. I mean, when we scouted them for this game, they are playing a lot more man. The former coach ran a 1-3-1, I would say 30 to 40% of the game in man. Now the new head coach is running mostly man. So that was the biggest difference. But in terms of the way they play and their physicality, it was no different. I mean, Catawba Valley is one of the most physical teams, not just in our region, but the country. And we knew that going in. We emphasized post defense. We emphasized blocking out. We emphasized getting through screens. And I do think throughout the game we had possessions where we were really, really good defensively, which led to some easy buckets in transition.
Well, being that going into that game the Red Hawks are going to be physical, when you face teams like, do you focus more, let's say, on practice leading up to those games, like on free throws? Is that something you do? You change your routine up any at all?
Not really. I mean, free throws is a major emphasis every day. We shoot free throws every day in pre-practice and throughout practice and at the end of practice. And we expect them, it's one of our standards, to shoot free throws throughout the day, either before or after practice. We expect 1,000 shots a day. Now, not every player does that, but that is the standard here at Davidson-Davie. So the only way to get true confidence in anything in life is get reps up, whether it be studying for a calculus test and doing your homework and getting mental reps when you're having to memorize how you solve certain things. And on the basketball court, it's no different. If you want to become a great shooter, you got to get your tail out of bed and in the gym and get up shots on the gun. And some of our better shooters do that, and some of our guys who aren't better shooters, they don't do it. So at the end of the day, they have the opportunity, Davidson-Davie, to get on that gun throughout the day and in the evenings after practice.
We talked about you guys forcing 30 turnovers against GTCC. In this game, you guys committed 25 turnovers. Mm-hmm. in the contest, was it more of a situation where you guys maybe were pressing a little bit, or was it the defensive pressure by the Red Hogs?
I think it was a combination of both, but 25 turnovers is ridiculous, and I've got to do a better job of getting our kids of trying to hit singles instead of home runs, making the easy play, and understanding that we've got a lot of talented kids that can score, and nobody has to thread the needle and hit a home run. So I've got to do a better job as a coach of getting these kids to make the simple play consistently, because that's one of the three things I believe that you have to do at a high level in the regular season, but especially in the postseason. If you want to survive in advance, you got to defend, you got to rebound, and you can't turn the ball over. And if you're doing those three things, you got a chance, especially if you got talented young men like I do.
Well, Fayetteville Tech coming into Brinkley on the 26th. Boy, this was a great game. If you're a fan, this was a great game. This was your birthday, by the way, right? In November 16th, you played this team, and you found a way to get a very close 61-58 win on the road. This rematch was even closer than the first game, if you can believe that. You guys were able to pull off an exciting 94-93 win, come-from-behind win. Fayetteville had just taken a 1-point lead, a little over 10 seconds left to go in the game. Walk us through, if you will, that last timeout and the play that sent Jalen King to the free throw line with a chance to win that game.
Well, first of all, I want to say Coach Hurd at Fayetteville Tech is a good friend of mine. He used to be the assistant at Central Carolina years ago. So he and I have coached against each other for 12-plus years now. So he knows kind of the style of play and kind of what we do really well. He's really good at scouting. He's got a really talented group. Those twins are really good. We had a hard time guarding them and keeping them in front of us. We about blew a 14-point lead. I think we were up 14 and a half. They had a lot better sense of urgency in the second half than our guys did, and that's a poor job again by me getting our kids ready mentally and coming out of the gate there in the second half, attacking like we did the first half. So I've got to do a better job at halftime getting our kids back out on the court, sprinting through layup lines, breaking a sweat, because we were not very good those first 5 to 7 minutes in the second half. Late in the game, they did take the lead, like you said, about one. It was our ball. I remember vividly what I said to the kids in the timeout. I said I would not want to be in their shoes in this situation. It's our ball. We get to decide the game, not them. I said, well, here's what we're going to do. When we drew up a play to get the ball in a chase, it was not there. I told the kids in the timeout, if Chase is not open in the set that we're running here, we're going to get it to Jalen, go 1-4. It's a little set we run. Same thing we ran at Lewisburg, where Jalen scored late in the game for us to win the game on the road. In those scenarios, you want the ball in somebody's hand that can create, but you also want the ball in somebody's hands who's a really good free throw shooter. Jalen King right now is at 87% from the line. So obviously when he got fouled, I felt really good about our chances. And Jalen, he's so poised mentally. Some kids in those scenarios, they don't want to take the shot. Jalen King has no problem with taking that shot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you felt with him going to the line with a chance to win that game. But like you said, the super free throw shooter, one of the best in the country, actually. You guys in this contest, Fayetteville Tech did something. They only played 8 players in the ball game, and it looked like you were able to wear these guys down near the end of the first half when you took that 14-point lead. Did it surprise you any at all that Coach Hurd used only that 8-man rotation, because he did something different when you guys played them at their place?
Not really. They typically try to slow the game down. They didn't do that as much. I don't want to speak for Coach Hurd, but the game was in the 90s. At their place, they would hold the ball and not shoot until the last 5 to 10 seconds. And throughout the year, they've done a lot of that, as Kevin Egan will tell you here shortly, when you look at the stats and the analytical stuff that he'll go through. But at the end of the day, Brian's teams are well-conditioned like ours. I know, him and I talk a lot. Coach Hurd's a good friend of mine, as I said earlier, and they do a lot of conditioning in the preseason like we do, so it didn't really surprise me that much. But I do think our kids are one of the best conditioned teams in the country. Our preseason is not easy, and I'm proud that we've been able to wear some folks down over not just this year, but the years I've been here.
Well, in addition to Jalen's 21 points, a couple other guys to highlight just for this game. Again, it was a huge team win, but Jaheim Taylor again had a really nice game, and Elam Muniz coming off the bench in the first half was unstoppable. Talk a little bit about their games.
Well, Elam there at the end of the half, I think in 3 minutes scored 10 points. He didn't miss a shot. Our kids did a good job getting the ball when he opened, but Elam actually took a kid off the bounce, pulled up, took a shot when he wasn't open and made it there at the end of the half. I mean, he was amazing. He put on an offensive display. And, everybody inside our inner circle knows he can do it because we see it every day at practice. But that was fun to watch, push up the lead there a little bit at halftime. Jaheim, 25 points, only 1 turnover. Incredible. I mean, he's just so talented offensively. He's one of the best guards, not just in our region, but in the country. He's already got 2 full scholarships. He's probably going to get some more. Some schools are coming to see him next week. So we're excited about the future for this team, but we're also excited about the future for them when they leave Davidson-Davie because they're going to go on and do great things.
Yeah, the 25 points for Jaheim was nice, but the 1 turnover is pretty special, right?
Well, he reminded me of that because I've been on his rear about turning the ball over all year. And just I think it was yesterday, day before, he said, Coach, you got on me the day after we played Fayetteville Tech. I only had 1 turnover. I said, yeah, but look back 2 or 3 games. So, I have a long-term memory. I guess I need to move on, right?
Well, the goal is 0. Yeah. But so the crowd, let's talk a little bit about the crowd because I thought it was electric, not just because it was a close game, but, I mean, this place is pretty special here. Tell us again, just your words, how important that support from what we'll call the 6th man is to this team.
I don't know if I can put it into words. Our community, our players' parents, people like yourself that make game day experience so fun and exciting for our players and our community. Our gym's packed. I mean, stand room only. There's been a few games where we've had to shut the doors, lock it because our gym's at capacity. The fans are right on top of you. And if you look at the whole season, I think we're 10-0 at home. And in 16 years, I looked at it earlier today, we're 236 wins and 19 losses in Brinkley. It's a fun place to play because of the community and people like yourself and Jared Bowman and all the things that Dylan does with now the digital scoreboard. I mean, it's a cool place to get to play. One day down the road, if and when we do build a new facility, obviously we'll have a hopefully bigger gym for more people to come see us. But at the end of the day, I'm going to miss Brinkley Gym a lot. It's a very unique place. And I don't like comparing us to Duke, but it is kind of similar in terms of, having a smaller facility and the fans being right on top of the action. So Brinkley is very special to me.
I'm surprised to hear that 4-letter word from you, Duke.
Well, I think there's a little pickup game in Durham this weekend. So
okay.
We'll see how that rolls.
All right. Well, we had a little, I guess I could say celebrity. He was a Hall of Fame coach, was in attendance for that game. Tubby Smith, who won the national championship in '98 with Kentucky. He's coached a lot of places, but he coached last at High Point University. He was in attendance that night, and I know he's spoken to the team at a practice here. I actually saw him here to practice a while ago. For you, how special is it for you and the team to have someone of Coach Smith's stature recognize and spend time with this program?
So when Coach Smith got the job at High Point several years ago, it's no secret. I've talked to some people about moving up and getting a 4-year job. I just stopped by the High Point office one day and introduced myself, and he talked to me for 45 minutes or so, just down to earth, just a great man. I mean, just somebody of his stature. He's a Naismith Hall of Fame coach. For him to, welcome somebody into the office that he doesn't know and talk to for 45 minutes tells you what kind of guy he really is. And so over the years, he's come to us several of our practices and games. He's watched both national championship games. He's been texting me about our team, and he's just a super nice person. At the end of the day, he's not just a legendary coach, but he's a really good person. And I've enjoyed getting to know Coach Smith, and I just can't say enough about his humility and how down-to-earth he is.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the Dean Dome. You guys, yesterday afternoon game actually, get to play in the Dean Dome, a homecoming for you, right? What was the atmosphere like for you and the team to be on that court in the Dean Dome?
Well, for me, I spent 4 years there, and it's always great to go back. My wife always tells me when I get to go to Chapel Hill, I'm always in a good mood. But I mean, there's no better place than the Dean Dome. I was lucky enough to be a part of the program on the JV side for 4 years, 2 as a player and 2 as an assistant. So for me personally, it's always fun to go back, regardless if we're playing or I'm just there to watch the varsity or there to watch the varsity practice or whatever. But the kids, it was neat to watch them go out on the court and warm up and just kind of watch them look around and see all that beautiful Carolina blue. And We didn't play particularly well, but we did play well enough to win the game. We did force 23 turnovers. It was a running clock because they were trying to get the game over, so the varsity game would have no issues in terms of their warm-up time and all that. But, we did turn them over a lot. We didn't shoot the ball great. Elon did get going there for a little bit, but we did force 23 turnovers, and that was a big reason we won the game.
When you play at a place like that, you play in gyms of this size. When you go to a big dome, is there a different type of
the depth
perception?
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about that. I said as soon as y'all can get out on the court, get up a bunch of shots. We only had 20 to 25 minutes to warm up because Carolina's varsity had a longer shoot around than expected. I think they started around 2. So we didn't get out on the court until 3:15ish, and then the game started at 3:45. So we only had 30 minutes to warm up, but at the end of the day, I just feel blessed that we had the opportunity to go play them. They didn't have to schedule us. I mean, they have to turn a lot of people away every year. I know how the scheduling goes from being a former coach there, and they get literally hundreds of calls of 4-year JV programs, prep schools, junior colleges wanting to come there and play. So I just appreciate them scheduling us. But I will say in terms of the atmosphere, obviously playing the Dean Dome is unique and cool, but it's the polar opposite of Brinkley because Brinkley seats 275, the Smith Center seats 24,000, and when the game starts, there's maybe 100 to 200 people there. So you got 100 to 200 people sitting in a facility that seats 24,000, so it doesn't feel like anybody's there, but by the end of the game, there's a few thousand people starting to come in for the varsity game, so that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be able to do that. It's a great experience for these young men. The big thing is you guys came away with a win.
That's right. That's right. And it's always good when you can win when you don't play great. And we certainly haven't peaked, and that's the exciting thing for me is if I can continue to do a better job as a coach, we can play at a higher level. There's no telling where this team can get to.
So 58-50, that score yesterday. You guys now 20-0. You've got 8 regular season conference games left. I mean, this season has flown by. How are you feeling at this point, and where do you think your team still has big opportunities to improve as you head down the stretch?
Well, like I said at the beginning of the show, we're proud of where we're at. I mean, going 20-0 is not easy in any league. But at the end of the day, we haven't won anything. We're not regular season champions. We haven't won a tournament. So we have a lot to prove. So we want to base our pride on the future. For us to reach the ultimate goal, we've, number one, got to continue to work on cutting down turnovers, like I said earlier, hitting singles and not home runs. We've got to shoot a higher percentage, which I pointed out to the guys today. I put the stats on the board. I said, if you want to win a national championship, you got to get in the gym and get more shots up throughout the day. Number 3, we got to keep the ball in front of us. Fayetteville Tech exposed us. They blew by us a ton and got to the cup. Gilbert Tech's another example. We fouled almost 30 times, so we've got to do a better job on ball defense, keeping it in front of us. And then the 4th thing is we've got to consistently rebound the basketball. Not to put one player on blast, but Chase Mebbin's a great rebounder, one of the best in our region. He had 3 rebounds yesterday at Chapel Hill. We're missing Jarvis. He's injured right now. We're missing Najee. He's injured right now. Ray didn't play yesterday. So we need everybody focused on the process of getting better every single day. So we build those habits so when we get these big-time games down the road, the habits just naturally take over, and we're able to do those 4 things I just said. Take care of the ball, shoot a higher percentage, keep the ball in front of us, and rebound it.
Well, we want to take a quick snapshot of the conference at this point. I mean, you guys obviously are at the top. You got a couple of game lead, if you will, in the loss column over Bryan and Stratton. But how does the rest of the conference look? And anybody that you think's making kind of a late season charge that might be a surprise in the tourney?
Well, after Bryan Stratton obviously breathing down our neck with 2 losses right behind us, you got Pitt at 9-4. You got Catawba Valley at 9-5, Lewisburg at 9-5. And Fayetteville Tech's right there with them with 5 losses. But the one team when you look at all that who's got a couple more losses, who I think could be anybody in our league, is Patrick and Henry. They're by far, in my opinion, the most improved team in our league. They took us to overtime. They've played almost everybody to a single-digit either win or loss. Some of the teams they've blown out. But, I mean, they can beat anybody in our league. So there's 7 teams there, in my opinion, that could win the tournament. Davidson-Davie, Bryant Stratton, Catawba Valley, Pitt, Lewisburg, Fayetteville Tech, and Patrick Henry. So any of those 7 teams, in my opinion, are talented enough to make a run in the regional tournament.
Yeah, Patrick and Henry just beat Catawba Valley, I think, by 2, 77-74. So they would have been one that I would have said, too, that could be a surprise. But, yeah, the tournament's going to be the regular season's not over with by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, if I'm a fan, I'm looking at that tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and I want our viewers and our fans and parents to know there's only 2 ways to make it to the Nationals in Region 10. One is to win the regional tournament. The other one is if you don't win the tournament and you're the regular season winner, you get to go to Florida for 1 game to make, you know, the second berth to the national tournament. So there's 2 different ways. If the same team wins the tournament in the regular season, the runner-up in the tournament gets to go to Florida. So the last couple of years, that's been us. So we're hoping we can continue to make a run towards the regular season and regional tournament.
Okay, we got to take a break for our special guest, Mr. Javion Jones, to come in here. And I want to, we got some followers here. Brandon and Tristan, I got you guys here. So Manuel Teague is watching. Hello, Manuel. Nita Jones, hello, Storm family. She says the question is, does he love his Aunt Nita? That's for Javion, I'm sure.
We'll let him answer that, but I think I know the answer.
It better be yes.
And I want to say this before I give him the headset. Javion, for so many different reasons, is extremely special to this whole community. I mean, he has embraced a lot of little kids. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how much respect and love I have for Javion. So I hope the viewers out there are listening because he is very special to me and this program.
Come on up, Javion. Keith Q says the recent nail-biter games have had me holding my breath right up to the end. Proud of the Storm team for holding their own and winning these games against other very skilled and talented teams. I absolutely agree with you, Keith. Well, welcome to the show, Javion Jones. He is a former, I hate to say that, never a former, always family, 2-time first-team All-American, 2-time Jack Cistriano Small Man of the Year award winner, played in a couple of national finals. I mean, I could just go on. I think I've got about 6 pages that I could brag on you, Javion. But right now you're currently having a great year at Catawba. You guys are surprising some people, having a real strong year. Tell us a little bit about how things are going there.
Things are going well. At first it was a little bumpy. Took a little minute for us to get used to each other, but I spent a lot of time in the gym together, a lot of talks after practice, and we're starting to, really bring it together. We just recently took a loss to LMU, but we're still first on our side of the division, so it's looking good, and we're up 2 games on the second team that's behind us. So it's looking good. We're already preparing for our next game, and there's nothing more you could really ask for.
LMU broke your 8-game winning streak. That was tough, but they're the leader in the other division. So I mean, you guys may see each other again, certainly. Question for you, and I've always wondered. Storm fans have seen your strong drive and your will to win, but people are motivated by different things. I'm curious, what drives or motivates Javion?
So growing up, I wasn't in a troubled home, but troubled neighborhood, and I fell into the wrong hands of people, and basically just seeing how they are right now and the things that they're going through and the situation that they put themselves in. I know that I don't want to be in that situation, so I remind myself every day that playing basketball to keep me out of that, that situation, and it just motivates me every day. Now,
something else I'll ask you. You guys were picked, I think, 7th in the preseason. Now, preseason polls don't mean anything, but you guys were picked 7th.
Yeah.
Was that a little motivation for you guys, too, to say, wait a minute, these guys are slighting us somewhat?
It was the number one thing that motivated us. So once we found out that we were picked 7th, my coach wrote it on the board and circled it. So every day of practice, before every game, before every film session, he basically talks about it and shines light on it because, they basically doubted us. I mean, 7th, that's barely making it to the tournament, So I feel like it definitely is motivating us. We come in practice with a chip on our shoulders, games with a chip on our shoulders, and it shows.
Now, you've come back many times here when you can to watch this team play. Give me a little bit of color on what you think your thoughts are on their play so far.
I'm loving it. The guys are having fun. That's the most important thing, is to have fun with it, because if you're not having fun with it, then what are you doing? They play extremely hard. Jarvis is, he's handling his job. With the game, everybody has a role, and you're expected to accept it and try to expand it in practice. And I would say with this team, they do that to a high level because, in the recent years that I played, we've always had maybe one or two or a couple that's not okay with it, but they'll eventually figure it out and tag along. Well, you're mid-season right now, really, and everybody has accepted their role, and they try to expand it when they can. And I really love that about them. And I enjoy seeing Ja dance and all that because I can't do it. So anytime that I get to, see that, I'm definitely going to take the chance so I can get a little skills from them. But I'm definitely enjoying it, man. To see these guys, come in, and it's a lot of expectations from other people towards them, and they're actually, upholding their expectation and doing a lot better. It's definitely a joy to see.
Well, in your 3 years playing for the Storm, you guys had an 87-7 record. That's 93% winning percentage. That's phenomenal. You played in back-to-back, as we said before, national championship games, finals. Probably a third in 2020 if it hadn't been for COVID.
Yeah.
You never lost a game here at Brinkley Gym. And I got to ask you, last Thursday, Jalen King hit those 2 free throws with 4 seconds left to give the Storm a 1-point win over Fayetteville Tech. You were here. Were you worried at all about you were getting ready to witness your first loss here?
I wasn't worried at all. I told my girlfriend because I think one of the guys from Fayetteville Tech shot 2 free throws correct, and he made 1. I told my girlfriend, if he misses his free throw, the ball is going in to Chase, and he's going to get a layup. I said, if Chase can't get the ball, then somebody's going to get the ball and get fouled, and we're making both free throws. The moment that I seen Jalen King walk up to the free throw line, I said, game is over. We won this.
Well, we, a lot of Storm players tend to come back to games and practices and the coaches' shows. In addition to yourself. Question for you, Javion. What is it about DDCC basketball culture that year after year players develop these lifelong relationships with their teammates and coaches?
I'll first say, and Coach Rich not going to like me saying this, but it's like a brotherhood. Like, even after playing here, me, LJ, Tim, Pruitt from our sophomore year, we all keep up with each other. Whenever we get the chance, we go watch each other play games, and whenever we're not playing, we try to come here and watch games. So it's really like a brotherhood. And Coach Ridge, he programs your mind that it's not all about basketball. It's about being a better, boyfriend, brother, husband, son, and basically growing in life outside of basketball, because at one point the ball stops bouncing, and what do you have to look back on? If you don't finish school, it's not school. If you didn't have a successful basketball career, then it's not going to be basketball. But leaving a good impression on other people and stuff like that could help you out in the long run. And he preaches on that a lot. So I'm pretty sure, it's some guys that probably come in and they don't enjoy it as much, but they leave with a better mindset, a better goal, driven, stuff like that. So.
That's a brotherhood and friendship that will last a lifetime. So that's special. It's really special. It speaks a lot to you guys. It speaks a lot to the coaches here. It speaks a lot to this program, to this school, because you don't have that everywhere.
No, you don't. Like right now at Catawba, we've probably had, 1 or 2 guys come back, and then we had our annual reunion from, I think it was the 97 class. But other than that, you don't see too many people that's been rolling in and out, and we've been winning, so you would expect it. But everybody has their own situation.
Yeah. Well, Coach Ridge speaks extremely high of you as a player, but he also speaks really to how special you are to him as a person. So it's more than just player. Tell us about your relationship with Coach Ridge while you played for him during those 3 years, and what's it like now that you're at Catawba?
Our freshman year, we were still getting to know each other. because I came in a knucklehead, so it was kind of hard to, like pick his brain and figure him out because, I had in my mind what I was thinking, he had in his mind what he was thinking. But eventually I saw that he seen something better in me that I had. And like, if I was to buy in, that it would eventually show. And, over the years after that, after my freshman year, we just got closer and closer. And it just seemed like like I belonged here. Like I was sitting here basically to meet this man, and he helped me become the better person that I know that I can be, and that I know I wanted to show. So I definitely appreciate him for that. Of course, it was other schools that could have offered me, or I could have went and played for, but I just like the connection wasn't as good as it was when I first met Coach Ridge, and I've basically tried to like model myself as he is because I mean this is a very successful man. He played basketball. I mean he has a wife, a family. Like that's all the things that I want when I grow up. So I basically like not mimicked him, but I listened very closely and started to apply some of the things that he taught us in my everyday life. And it's a lot more people that like me, talk to me, willing to have a conversation with me that I really never thought that I would have a conversation with before. So and then at Catawba right now, it's growing. When I first got there, it wasn't much of like a connection that me and my coach had, but I kept, like trying to nitpick his brain, trying to talk to him, figure him out, and eventually he started giving me the opportunity to like come in his office and watch film, break down scouts, stuff like that. And I'm really enjoying it. It's just like being at home now.
Well, I think you're sports communication major. What do you want to do after your basketball playing career's over with?
So after basketball, I definitely wanted to be a coach maybe. And if that don't work out, I'm still trying to figure it out. But some type of like announcer or something like that, just to like stick around basketball because that's what I love the most. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, keep following your dreams, Javion, because if I had one word to describe you, it'd be winner. And so you are that. You're a special person. We love you a lot here. And wish you all the best as you move forward. Anything, of course, we can ever do to help you all. You always know there's family here. So special part of this program.
Appreciate it. I love you guys too. And
Thank
I
you.
love my aunt.
The answer was yes. Javion Jones, just a super nice young man and a winner indeed. Okay, so now we're going to do Ray Bellamy. We've got a player coming up here. Ray's going to step up to the mic, and Ray, 6'5" guard forward out of Suffolk, Virginia, Lakeland High School.
Yes, sir.
Also Coker University, I believe, too, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you play Coker?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Coming out of Lakeland, I was looking at your numbers. I mean, 17.5 points a ball game, big numbers, 5.3 assists a game, 7.5 rebounds game. My guess is you probably were the high scorer on your team, right?
No, sir.
No?
I had multiple other teammates on my team. Clint Wright Jr., Kamari Artis. It was kind of like maybe like the main three scorers on the team. Devontae Saunders. There's a lot of team. We actually won a state championship in 2020 together. So
What classification was that?
2020.
Okay. I mean, is that like I'm not familiar with the Virginia classifications. 3A. Okay.
Yeah, 3A.
So you come here. What was the drive for you to come to DDCC?
The drive, I would say, after I left Croker, hitting the portal, coach reached out to me and he wanted me to come play for him. And I liked the school when I came for the visit, so I came.
Did you know any of the teammates? Do you have any?
I ain't really know anyone.
Okay, so you came. This was fresh to you coming here. You're starting to get more playing time as the season goes on, and right now, I think you're at 6.7 points a ball game. You're getting about 18 minutes a game. How difficult was it to transition from coming to Lakeland and what you were doing at Coker here? I mean, Was it a difficult transition for you, or was it pretty seamless?
It's pretty seamless.
You had a chance in the preseason, I guess, really to bond with some of your teammates here, and as the season's gone on, that's become stronger. What do you think about the makeup of this team right now?
I love my teammates. I mean, we all gel after practice. On the court, we gel. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I asked Javion the same thing. Fayetteville Tech game, you guys are up by 14 at the break, and then Fayetteville Tech makes a run in the second half, and they actually take the lead and go up by some buckets. You guys never at all looked panicked. I mean, it was, you guys were sure of yourself. What was your thought as Jalen went up to the free throw line? You guys are trailing by 4.4 seconds left. What were you thinking? Were you thinking, Jalen is the man? He's 87% free throw shooter. These things are good.
I mean, he been clutch for us all year, so we believed in him at the ball game.
So that's faith in the teammate. I like it. Your strength. What do you see as your strength? What do you bring to the table as a player for the Storm?
Defense mostly. My role on the team, locking up the teams, the opposing team's best player. Really anything the coach needs, I feel like I could do at any point.
Is there any one particular part of your game that you feel like you got to continue to work on and get better? I mean, is there something where you say, maybe it's not a gap for you, but I really want to focus on getting better here?
I feel like if I focus on everything, like as far as like ball handling, shooting, defense, I feel like if I focus on everything, I'll be straight.
What about a career goal when you leave this place? What is it that Ray wants to do?
I just want to play basketball.
Would you play overseas? Is that something that you would entertain doing?
I play in the league. I play overseas, anywhere.
Okay. Do you have any pregame things that you do before a game? Things that you traditions or rituals that you got to do before a game? Anything like for good luck?
Nah, just pray.
Okay, that's the best thing, right? Do you have any special foods before the game that you eat?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So you got 8 games left in the regular season. You guys finish strong and kill it in the tournament.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Ray Bellamy, nice addition to this team. A very well-spoken young man, and we look forward to the play the rest of the season from Ray and the teammates. Okay, so now we got Kevin Egan. This is, I think Coach Ridge said, by the way, Essie says thank you, and Nita says love you, baby, Javion. So, and they love you too, Coach Ridge. All right, Kevin Egan.
Yes, sir.
Matt called you before we got on camera the guru of stats.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Tell us a little bit about that role. I mean, why would he call you the guru of stats?
It's just an honor to be even involved with this program, even in a small way. I love sports. I've been involved with sports my whole life. I've been a math teacher for 25 years, and when I started working here at Davidson-Davie, I just saw an opportunity to kind of combine the two worlds, and the more I started going to games, I really like basketball, but I really love Storm basketball. Like, I don't think these guys the games are, like, my son comes home from college and, I'm like, you want to go to Charlotte and go to an NBA game? And he's like, no, I want to go to a Storm game.
Nice.
Like, they're just really fun guys to watch, and I just love the program, and I have a lot of them in class, so the more you get to know them too, like, it's really easy to root for them. And Matt and his staff, and it's just an honor to be involved. And then you think, all right, well, how can I be a little more involved? And being a math teacher, those two worlds, it's increasingly in college and NBA, like, they're really trying to marry the math world and the sports world. And I was like, well, how can we do that here? How can we do that even on a small scale? And Matt has been very gracious, and given us some opportunities. And I actually have a small group of students now that help me out. And we tried just to calculate some statistics that basketball is a tough game to explain. Like that game, I was looking at the Carolina stats from the game last night. Like we were all at that game. Carolina had 11 more shots than Pitt. They had 11 more free throws than Pitt. And they out-rebounded them by 9 rebounds. And they lost. And it's just like, how do you explain that? Like, and math can explain everything. But you're like, it's really tough. And I don't know. Matt will agree. I think 5 for 27 from 3 is part of the answer. That, like, how do you lose by 1 when you outdo all these other things? And it's fun to try to use math to describe these guys and their games and their season and their opponents. And, I am not a stats guru. I appreciate him saying that. But, like, it's just fun to try and scratch the surface. And then each year maybe get a little better. And it's fun to talk to. I actually started talking to this guy on the Hornets, the Charlotte Hornets. And some of the stuff they do just blows you away. They use, like, AI and machine learning to try to explain the game and how do they decide who to draft and who to trade. And it's just neat. I just think it's neat.
So do you have these Excel spreadsheets that you sit and crunch the numbers? And
Yeah.
I mean, it's really it's not, I mean, we're talking about, this is not stuff you find in the box scores. I mean, this is really more high level, intense, really deep dive statistics, right?
Right. So, like the one example I used, mentioned Jarvis earlier, like, the buzzword in basketball is efficiency. Mm-hmm. Matt mentioned it. And, efficiency you can achieve that in a lot of ways. And there was a game, I wish I remember the game, Jarvis, you might know which game it was, where he had one of the most efficient, highest rated games of the season for our team. And he scored 4 points. But he got a bunch of blocks and he got a bunch of rebounds and he got some assists. And, and again, Matt has forgotten more basketball than I'll ever know, but it's fun to, like, I think at least help him. He knows what he sees, but then sometimes to come up with some advanced stats that just confirm what he thinks he already sees, and say, yeah, I saw that too. And the numbers back it up.
Do you do that? I mean, are you breaking down every game and sitting down with him, or do you guys just meet on a infrequent basis?
Yeah, I mean, we probably work, I don't know, 100 yards apart, but everything's just in the cloud, man. You just send emails and you send, documents, and we run into each other a lot too, but you can do a lot. And like you said, I'm still kind of scratching the surface. We do Excel spreadsheets, but Jared and I were talking before the show about this, Dylan Beasley, who's been helping with the scoreboard. I mean, this he's a guru. He's a whiz. Like, he can code, and like that's where we kind of, the roadmap eventually is to come up with computer programs to do it, because then they might be able to find trends that an Excel spreadsheet couldn't, But yeah, it's just fun to look at. And like I said, if what we do stopped happening tomorrow, they'd still be 20-0, right? Yeah. I mean, but it's just fun to be a part of it.
Well, one of the things I can remember when I was a young kid, I had a paper route, and it was a morning route, and every morning I'd get up and I'd have to roll the papers before I'd take them on my bicycle to deliver. But the first thing I would do is I'd go to the sports page, and I'd look at the box scores, whether it was baseball or football or basketball. And, 40 years of broadcasting games, I would rather, honestly, I know Coach Ridge probably doesn't agree with this, but I'd rather look at box scores and stats than watch game film.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you how a game probably is going to at least be played by looking at a history of statistics. So it's really intriguing. When did you fall in love with that? I mean, what got you into the mathematics and the statistics?
Yeah, a lot of these guys I have in class, and, let's be honest, like math, right? I mean, math's tough, and it's hard, but the biggest thing is students just don't see how it relates to life. So, the math educator in me likes to be able to take something that they already love, basketball, and say, hey, there's math in here. And I think it really helps with the motivation level. And, Moneyball kind of started the whole thing. Yep. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie or read the book, but, the nerds and the quants and the stat heads, they saw things that the old-time baseball players didn't see. And unfortunately, in that situation, like, they kind of started having turf wars and, not getting along. And, it's great, being able to share stuff with Matt, but also to realize that there is a limit. There's a limit to what numbers can, like a lot of times in the NFL, like the numbers guys try to decide what plays get called, and that doesn't always end well either. Sometimes you need, a coach that has experience to make some of those decisions too. But
sure.
It's a growing field, and Javion was talking about careers in sports. I mean, it's an area where if you want to stay in the game, if you get good at math, there's jobs in that.
So let me ask you, as you look at the numbers that you look at, anything really interesting that kind of stands out on this year's team?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do a little bit what Javion was saying. It's really tough sometimes to compare these guys to, say, Wake Tech. If, the schedule's different, they've played different opponents, But one thing that's pretty apples to apples, I love comparing Storm 2023 to Storm 2022. No offense, Javion, but I love looking at that. And, some of it's a testament to Matt. Like, it's very consistent year to year. But there's a real famous guy in this basketball analytics community. His name is Dean Oliver. He's this, egghead guy. And he has figured out that the 4 factors, he calls them, that really contribute to winning are shooting, offensive rebounding, getting to the free throw line, and turnovers. 3 of those 4, this team is almost identical to last year's team. But the one area where this team has actually got last year's team beat a little bit, these guys do a real good job of getting to the foul line. Yeah. And I don't know. It doesn't explain everything, but it'll be real interesting to see how that plays out as the season goes along. I'm curious about the math of that, see if it explains anything.
Getting to the free throw line, making those free throws.
And making them,
that's
right.
the key,
yeah, absolutely,
right?
yeah.
I noticed you had a 2022 national championship shirt on there.
Extra large.
Mine's probably a double X, but you obviously a big Storm fan.
Yeah.
How often do you get to come to the games?
Probably 1 out of every 3. I actually live in Concord, so it's a little bit of a drive, and my wife's here tonight, and we have 2 boys who are about these guys' age, and so regular life keeps me busy, and my day job, grading math tests, that takes a little bit of time, but I try to get to as many as I can because they are fun, but you got to get here early, and like Matt said, and I don't know why, but I like sitting behind the visitors' bench. I don't know why I enjoy that so much. Just kind of listen to them, and if you guys start putting it on them, they get a little frustrated. I like hearing, them complain about they're getting beat, and I don't know. It's just fun. They're fun games.
Well, we appreciate your support and the things that you do, especially with Coach Ridge and statistics. Just a final question for you, Kevin. You are a math teacher here at the school. Talk a little bit about how these guys are athletically. How are they as students? I saw Ray do the thumbs down. Are they pretty good students?
No, again, I think we take for granted a little bit of how special of a group this is. Like I said, I've been in education for 25 years and involved with sports, and Coach Ridge recruits good basketball players, but he recruits good men.
Yeah.
And, they come to class, they do what they need to do, and they don't need to love school. I didn't love school, but it's great. But I just, my hope is that we have this jewel in this Storm basketball program, and, the academic side of the house over there, it's a shame. Sometimes they're a little bit too separate, and I think it's important that both sides, realize what they have and how this team makes the college a better place.
Well, we appreciate you and taking some time to come up here and do this with us tonight. So
Yeah, thank you.
you are the guru of stats. That's going to be what you're known as. Thank you, Kevin. That's Kevin Egan. All right, Coach. We got Kip Childress says Mr. Egan may not consider himself a stats guru, but he is a great teacher professor. So he really has made an impact on his daughter. So there's a shout out to you, Kevin. And Keith, again, chiming in. It's awesome to see coaches and players highlighted and interviewed to get to know more about them on a personal level, and I absolutely agree with that.
Well,
All right.
you can just tell by his interview how people are drawn to him. He's so humble. He's great with kids. I mean, they respect him. He's so well-spoken. I just have so much respect for him, appreciate him so much, and his wife stopping by tonight. So also like his haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think him and I and you
all
all
the
kind of
same-
go to the same barber.
Yeah.
So, ball is beautiful in 2023, right?
I think hair is overrated.
Yeah.
I want to see his Excel spreadsheets. That's what I want to get into. All right, so we want to talk a little bit about what we got coming up. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, February 8th. Is that the next game?
No,
February
4th.
4th.
Yeah, Wake
That's
Tech.
this weekend.
Wake Tech.
Wake Tech. That's on the road. Now, that's a team you beat way back in November, 83-71. Chase had a monster game, 26 points, I think 14 boards in that one. As you have been preparing for the Eagles, what challenges do they pose for you on the road this weekend?
Well, like a lot of teams, they're going to try to take us off the bounce. They're going to try to get to the cup. They're going to try to get downhill. So we got to keep the ball in front of us, not get split one pass away, and do a good job on the boards because they're going to crash the boards. They've gotten a lot better since we've seen them in November. That was a long time ago. So it'll be a good test for us. Any game on the road in our region is not easy, as we have seen in the past. So we've got to be ready to play, and I've got to do a great job tomorrow getting these guys prepared.
Well, we're back here Monday,
Yep.
February 6th.
Yep.
Patrick and Henry comes in, and that's a team we just talked about a little bit ago. Big win over Catawba Valley not too many hours ago. They gave you guys all you could handle back in November, I think a 98-93 win. That was an overtime game, if I recall.
Correct.
For you on Monday, what do you think the keys for you to come away with a larger margin of victory this time at home?
Before you can win a game, Miles, you first got to figure out a way not to lose it. And they're going to press us. They have multiple presses. They're going to run at us. And so the number one thing before we even get into the X's and O's in the half court is we can't turn it over. So we've got to we have a couple of different press offenses that we're going to attack their presses. So, obviously on Sunday, short turnaround time, I only have 1 day of prep for Patrick and Henry after we play at Wake Tech on Saturday. So I've already written that practice plan, and I'm ready to go for Sunday's practice. But I'm not looking ahead to them because first things first, and that's Wake Tech. But, Patrick and Henry is going to be a tough team for several reasons to play, one of which we only get 1 day of prep. But I'm looking forward to it. I told the guys after we played them, and I haven't forgotten this. I don't know if you guys remember in the locker room after the game that I had this game highlighted because we only won by a few points in overtime. I don't know. Do you guys remember that? Okay, well, good, because I hadn't forgot it.
So we have some more games between then and our next coaches shows, but we're not going to get ahead. We won't talk about those. We're on the road, Guilford Tech, Johnston Community College, and then we're back home here right before we do the next coaches show with Lewisburg, which is going to be a great game. But let's chat, if you don't mind, as we wrap this show up. We always like to talk about our former players, and we, of course, had a chance to chat with Javion, which is always a pleasure, and he's having an outstanding year at Catawba. But tell us a little bit about some of the other players, former Storm players, and what they're doing.
I will, but I do want to say one thing about Javion. He is leading, and correct me if I'm wrong, Javion, leading Catawba in points per game at 15.1, which you have on the script, leading him in rebounds at a point guard position, which is rare, leading him in assists and steals, 4 categories. And for a point guard to be leading the team in rebounding, that's phenomenal. So it just shows you the toughness and the grit that Javion plays with. It's hard to teach that. LJ Rogers is starting to play a lot more at Lees McRae. Super proud of him. Such a fine young man, such an incredible leader. Love LJ. Zai's killing it at Converse. He had 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists last night. He's having a phenomenal year, leading their I think he's second leading scorer on their team, but he's had some monster games. Tim Bullware is averaging over 12 points a game right down the road at Greensboro. They're 5-3 in conference play, over 500 overall. And Jamarius Harrison is starting now at Division I, East Tennessee State. He was 4 of 6 from the three-point line just a couple nights ago. He's gone from not playing much at all to starting. So there's another example of a young man that came through our program, moved on to a Division I program on a full scholarship, was kind of coming in. He had only 1 year left of eligibility when he went there. After Leeds McRae, he bounced because of that 5th year because of COVID and went to East Tennessee State and didn't play much the first semester, kept grinding, kept working, getting better, learning what they do on both sides of the ball, and now he's starting. Just phenomenal. And then, of course, right down the road, Orion Brodniks, which was on that team from 3 years ago when Javion was a freshman here that went 31-1. He's averaging right around double figures as well. He had 25 points just the other night, I think. So all 6 of these young men are doing well. We also have some guys playing overseas professionally. We don't talk about them as much, but Kyle Ridley is the MVP of his team. He's playing professionally. Super proud of that young man. He came through here and then went to Pfeiffer, led them in scoring, and he's been playing overseas professionally probably at least 5 or 6 years. So super proud of Kyle from a great family down in Charlotte. Sadiq Bello was playing professionally last year as well. Deion Boyce was playing a few years ago. So we've had guys not just move on and play at the Division II and Division I NCAA level, but professionally as well.
Good to see former players continuing to follow their dreams of playing, which is fantastic. Coach, as we think about the last month or so here, you go out into the gym and you look, and there's been some nice additions to the game experience here at Brinkley Gym, and it will only continue to get better. But we've added a huge digital scoreboard as well as a digital scores table. These upgrades wouldn't be possible were it not for some of the great support from our sponsors. Do you want to talk a little bit about them?
When I got the AD job, I told Dr. Hartness I was going to do my very best to attack fundraising. Haven't raised as much money as I want, but we have raised a few dollars. So blessed to have Todd Hunt on board with us down here at Jerry Hunt Super Center. If you're looking for a used car, he's certainly somebody you might want to get in touch with, but he's really donated a lot towards that digital scoreboard. Josh Hill, who I coached at East Davidson, the Hill Group, he has his own real estate company as well as he owns a few Strickland brothers. Justin Strickland, of course, owns Strickland Brothers. His name bears on our court there. He's given a lot of money towards athletic scholarships. Fidelity Bank also has given quite a bit of money. Mohawk Industries, Truist Bank. We're just so blessed to have a lot of different area companies on board with our structure of sponsorship here. And, if you are a listener tonight and you maybe know someone who's interested in getting involved with what we're doing, we have different levels to our athletic sponsorship, and there's different things you can get for the amount of money you give. So now that we have the digital scoreboard, digital scores table, obviously we're looking for people to give money to help raise some more money for the needs of the future of DDCC athletics, not just men's basketball and volleyball and golf, but other needs going forward and the possibility of adding other sports down the road at some point. So really excited about the future, and we have such an incredible man in Darren Hartness leading us. He's supported me in every idea I've had since I've been here as AD, and I know he's probably at home, and I hope our listeners are still praying for him. He has a big day coming up soon. He's been getting a lot of treatments, and he's in our thoughts and prayers.
Always, yes. Well, Coach, we want to thank you. I just can't thank you enough for the passion you've got for what you do here and for these young men and for this program. Of course, thanks Javion for coming on and doing what he did, and Kevin Egan and then Ray Bellamy for stepping up here and doing a really good job on the show tonight. Jared Bowman, Brandon Mullis doing the camera work, all the folks that come out, Tristan Wells that support this program. I can't thank them enough. And I'll let you have the closing comments before we sign off here.
Well, Kevin Egan is the guru of stats, but I'm going to tell you, Emmanuel Teague on game day is the best statistician in all of JUCO. So, Emmanuel Teague, we appreciate all you do, and appreciate you and your wife coming out tonight. I think I saw Caleb Curry here somewhere and his wife. Thank y'all for coming. Is Caleb here? Yep, there he is back there in the back hiding. And I see my man over there from Nation of the Coaches. Appreciate you coming out with your daughter. And I'm sure I've missed a few other people. Who have I missed? Maybe that's everybody. And, of course, our players, the most important guys in the room, right?
Absolutely.
And yourself, Miles. appreciate you and all you do and all your prep work. This takes hours and hours, and I don't overlook it. And I know, I hope you feel appreciated because you are the man.
I'm not the man. I do feel appreciated, and thank you for that. Reminder, folks, we appreciate you and all the support that you give to the Storm team. Our next game is Saturday at Wake Tech. We'll be back home here Monday at 7 o'clock against Patrick and Henry. And our next coaches show going to be Thursday, February 16th, right here at Brinkley Gym. We'd love for you to join us on Facebook, YouTube. If you can't, you're always welcome to come here. There's seating here, right?
Absolutely. We'd love to have a problem not having enough chairs out. We can get more out. But if you're not driving to Raleigh on Saturday, Monday, 7 o'clock, big game against Patrick Henry, Brinkley Gym. Let's pack it out.
Thanks for watching, and go Storm.
Gets a little bit lonesome out in the endless void, so lost in nothing but noise for so many years. I forgot to love. I wish that I could wake up. Wish I could climb out of my faults. I think it's time to let